dawn of history's embrace. Captain's quarters sets the pace with Captain Mayhem at the helm. A voyage of knowledge, a story to round. Captain's quarters weekly delight, where history's treasures take flight. Led by Mayhem, Longwood, and Joe, they explore the past, row by row. Navigator Longwood charts the course, guiding listeners to knowledge's source. Cartographer Joe, with maps in hand, unveils the...
Hey, welcome to Captain's Quarters Podcast. I see Michigan and North Carolina represented already on the show tonight. Very good. Welcome Zachary Harker up in Michigan and Michael Dodson over there in North Carolina. Welcome aboard on the show. We're glad to have you here. This is our 181st episode, April 14th of 2025. And I think we have a pretty good show for you tonight. We're going to talk about a couple of things, show off some things that happened over the past weekend, both for myself and old Davey. I understand Davey was at the World of Wizardry here up in Jacksonville. So we'll see if he turned anybody into a toad. And just have a righteously good time with some things coming up and maybe a hint or two of future possibilities. For now, though, Davey, how do we let everybody know about our show? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube. Use that QR code. Find us, follow us, like us, subscribe to us. And then every week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can be in the show, on the show, or part of the show. We love having guests on the show, and we're looking for a whole slew of guests to fill out all the Monday nights coming up for the rest of this year. So join us, if you will. Let's see. Davey, we always like to start off with a little bit of a snicker and a giggle, right?
That's right.
So let's do Mini Mayhem. Yes, that, ladies and gentlemen, Mini Mayhem always has a little something funny to share with us, and I'm sure he's waiting in the wings right now. So bring on Mini Mayhem.
Ahoy, mates! Mini Mayhem here with Joke of the Week. Sponsored by our good friend Travis Rami of Salt City Comics. How did the pirate communicate with the fish? Think about it, and I will give you the answer at the end of the show.
I just saw Bo come on board from up north. Very good. Love to have you on board. We'll see who else shows up here shortly as we go along. So how did the pirate communicate with the fish? I have no clue, but we'll find out in the link at the very end when we do a reveal of Mayhem's mysterious jokes, as it were. Right. So let's see. That leads us right into This Week in Nautical History. Always a good way to start, and sponsored by our good friends, Ancient City Sirens, Miss Gina and the Sirens. They're always providing dance for every event we do. The Celtic Festival, the Seafood Festival, our own festival, Old City Pirate Fest, even Spooktacular. You know what? They just provide great dance routines for every genre you can think of. Zachary Harker, I see that shell phone idea. That might be a good idea. We'll see what happens. Go ahead, Davey. This Week in Nautical History.
We begin This Week in Nautical History on April 14th, 1828. British 18-gun sloop HMS Acorn sinks off Halifax with 115 men aboard. April 15th, 1493. Christopher Columbus is received by the Spanish monarchs Isabella I and Ferdinand II in Barcelona upon his return from the New World. Columbus presents kidnapped Taínos indigenous people, plants, and items collected from the Caribbean. April 16th, 1947. Fire aboard French-flagged cargo ship SS Grand Champ, docked at Port of Texas City, Texas, and loaded with 2,300 tons of ammonium nitrate, causes massive explosion and spreads to nearby ships and oil facilities. Deadliest industrial accident in U.S. history. Kills 581, including all but one member of the city fires departments. April 17th, 1941. Egyptian steamer SS Zamzam attacked and later scuttled by German cruiser Atlantis. All on board rescued. April 18th, 1912. Cunard liner RMS Carpathia brings 705 survivors from the RMS Titanic to New York City. April 19th, 1944. Allied fleet attacked Sambang, Sumatra. And finally, April 20th, 2020, the last 3 cruise ships still afloat amid COVID pandemic finally dock at the ports of Marseille, France, Barcelona, Spain, and Los Angeles, California. And that was This Week in Nautical History.
Very good, Davey. Always interesting things to learn about our nautical history and past. I see the Will the Historian has come on board with a week to go, and then baby McCrae will be born. Can't wait. Can't wait to see and hear more about my granddaughter. I'm looking forward to it. Quote of the week, Davey, always brought to us by Spyglass Travel. And I did talk to Kevin and Angie this past week because they had me do some magic for a school group. And I gave them a synopsis of the idea we want to do for a video for them. So I'm waiting for them to send me pictures, and then we'll create their video. They thought it was a fantastic idea, so we'll get that underway and start using that. But for now, you just have to put up with my words in a verbal advertisement for Spyglass Travel. You want a great walking history tour of St. Augustine? Well, you'll get your cardio and history all in one with my friends at Spyglass Travel. It is a good hour walk through the city of St. Augustine, learning about the cemeteries and the homes of the people of St. Augustine for the last 450 plus years. If you're interested, Spyglass Travel is it. So do come on board for Spyglass Travel. For now, though, Davey, what's our quote of the week? Don't find fault, find a remedy. Anyone can complain. Excellent, excellent, Henry Ford. My dad, and my brother is on board right now, so he will attest to this. Our dad used to tell us, and he gave this advice to me, especially before I joined the military. If you find a problem, think about it for a bit, see if you can come up with a solution so that when you bring up the problem, you have a solution already thought of, whether it's a good solution or a bad solution. It at least shows your superiors that you were thinking about the problem and how to fix it. Just thinking and talking about the problem is whining and complaining. Nobody gets anything by that. So I've always tried to live by that. Very good, Davey. Henry Ford had some good words. I appreciate that. Now, we always jump into 8 bells. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we used to do 8 bells at the beginning of the show, but it just seemed to be much more fun to bring in the show with a joke. So we put 8 bells in the middle. If any of you do not know what 8 bells are, 8 bells was the signal when they did a burial at sea, so to speak. It was also the signal, believe it or not, on most pirate and or Navy ships. Work shifts were 4 hours in length for the most part. 8 bells was the end of a work shift because there was one man that manned the timepiece and the bell and would strike the bell so many times every half hour. 8 bells was always the ending of the shift. There is actually at least 1 or 2 sea shanties that talk about 8 bells. So we use 8 bells here as our signal or our segment to honor people that have passed away. On that note, Davey, how many do we have this week? Oh, that's true. I should do that. Thank you. It's a good thing I have Davey here. He keeps me in line. Our sponsor for 8 bells is Marco's Pizza. You can't get a better pizza in St. Augustine without finding it at Marco's Pizza. Their garden pizza, I would have never have thought this, ladies and gentlemen, but a pizza with nothing but vegetables on it, and it's damn good. But they make great sandwiches and quite a few other things. Check them out at Marco's Pizza. They now have 2 locations in St. Augustine, and I've just been in contact with them this week, Davey. we're going to do something special at one, if not both, of their locations. So let's see what we have. How many do we have, Davey?
4.
4. That makes it easy. Very good. And I have my specs in, so let's see if I can read proper. Joseph Douglas Vieira, known as Joey D. Vieira, was an American film and television actor. He began as a child actor using the professional name Donald Keeler, playing Sylvester Porky Brockway in the first several seasons of Lassie. Vieira borrowed the professional surname from his aunt, Ruby Keeler, star of numerous Warner Brothers musicals in the 1930s. His other early TV appearances included recurring roles in The Pride of the Family and Hank, guest appearances in Many Loves of Dobie Gillis, Shirley Temple's Storybook, and My Three Sons. He also had a music career in the 70s and 80s. One of his songs was sampled by the Tyler, the Creator song, 9/11, Mr. Lonely, on his album Flower Boy, and he was 80. So before we go to the next one, that he was a child star, as was Jay North, who we talked about last week, who passed on, another child star. I guess it's reaching that time that all the stars that we knew when we were children are now moving on. I'm going to butcher this next name. So I'm going to just jump into known as Mel Novak, an American actor who was best known for the villainous roles in Black Belt Jones, Game of Death, and An Eye for an Eye. He was also known for doing all of his own stunts and fighting scenes. He was 90 years old. Nicky Katt, an American actor. He began his career as a child actor and as an adult frequently played unsympathetic characters or villains. He was most known for his starring role in the television show Boston Public and his prominent supporting roles in multiple films by Richard Linklater, Steven Soderbergh, Robert Rodriguez, and Christopher Nolan, including Dazed and Confused, The Limey, Sin City, and Insomnia. He was only 54 years old. Jean Lindsay Torren-Marsh, an American actress, an English actress and writer. She co-wrote, slow down, Mr. Mayhem. She co-created and starred, and that's one of those times, Davey, you should be hit me in the head with a mallet. She co-wrote and starred in the ITV series Upstairs, Downstairs, 71 to 75, for which she won a 75 Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series for her performance as Rose Buck. She reprised the role in the BBC's revival of the series 2010 to 12. Marsh co-created the television series The House of Elliot in 91. Her film appearances include Cleopatra, Frenzy, The Eagle Has Landed, The Chain, Return to Oz, Willow, Fatherland, and Monarch. She was 90 years old. And there, ladies and gentlemen, are our 8 bells. And as always, we raise a toast to honor not only them, but their fans, their friends, and their families in the passing of their time. 8 bells, Davey. Very good. Let's see. I see Jim on board. I see Steve on board. And everybody may notice I've been putting stars next to everybody today. Just because. And there's my wife. I would give her 2 stars if I could, but I don't think I can. And there's Jim. Jim has been with us. I bet Jim has seen almost every episode of the last 181 episodes we've done. And there's a toast to all. Thank you, Michael, and to Stephen. We appreciate everybody being on board. Let's see. This Week in History. Let's jump that one in real quick, baby. This Week in History, sponsored by Dick's Wings. And I don't have to say a whole lot other than I love Dick's Wings. And Davey, I owe you a hamburger at Dick's Wings here soon. We better figure that out, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Where does the captain take his hungry crew for a good lunch special? Why, Dick's Wings. Daily lunch specials even a pirate could afford. Why look, a table filled with flavors and tastes for even the most discriminating of pirates. A great lunch and a great time is always had by all at Dick's Wings, St. Augustine, Florida, US 1 South.
We begin this week in history on April 14th, 1865. U.S. President Abraham Lincoln is shot in the head by John Wilkes Booth at Ford's Theater in Washington. He dies a day later. April 15th, 1955. Ray Kroc opens first McDonald's Incorporated fast food restaurant in Des Plaines, Illinois. April 16th, 1922. Annie Oakley sets women's record by breaking 100 clay targets in a row. April 17th, 1860. Champion of England Tom Sayers and American John Heenan fight out brutal 2-hour, 27-minute draw near Farnborough, England. Police stop fight acknowledged as first world title bout. April 18th, 1906. San Francisco earthquake and fire kills nearly 4,000 while destroying 75% of the city. April 19th, 1775. American Revolution begins in Lexington, Massachusetts, with the shot heard around the world. Fired later that day in Concord. And finally, April 20th, 1983, President Reagan signs a $165 billion bailout for Social Security. And that was This Week in History.
Very good, Davey. I should have really paid attention. I forgot that this was the anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's assassination, because we did a whole big show on it last year. And my son, Will the Historian, was one of the guests that we talked about it on. And it was a great show. For those of you that don't know, what did we call the show? The Assassination of Abraham Lincoln was the title of the show. And within 3 or 4 minutes, our show was shut down, for those of you that were watching. Davey was quick on the draw, though, and all he had to do was go in and change the title of the show to The Death of Abraham Lincoln, and we were back on with no problem. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes just a certain word can be a tick or a kick in the wrong direction. And in fact, that's what my shot across the bow may be partially about later, but that's in just a few moments. I want to do one other thing, Davey. This is unexpected, but you had a thing in there about Annie Oakley, and she broke the woman's record, 100 clay shots or 100 clay targets in a row. It's just something else that popped up. I heard about it on the news today, so I did some looking. Ladies and gentlemen, there was an all-woman, female-only space flight into orbit. The crew lifted off from West Texas at 9:31 a.m., traveled to the edge of space where they experienced a brief period of weightlessness before returning to Earth in a flight lasting around 11 minutes. According to the live broadcast by Blue Origin, the space company founded by billionaire Jeff Bezos. An all-female crew, ladies and gentlemen. And if you were curious, historically, today's female-only spaceflight was the first since 1963, when Valentina Tereshkova of the former Soviet Union became the first woman in space. I found it to be interesting and thought it was worth sharing. So, women in history. Davey, it just has given me an idea. We might have to start thinking about another This Week in History thing. All right. But that's for down the road. We'll talk about it another time. This week, ladies and gentlemen, normally I don't always do a shot across the bow, but I do have one this week in which I share with you thoughts and ideas and considerations. So, a shot across the bow. Now, I have it over here on my other screen, but so that I can make it work a little better, I am putting it on this screen right here. Now, some of it will be ad lib and improv, others of it will be what I typed up in my notes. So many times I see posts, most especially memes, that I laugh at, but sometimes I question. Sometimes they are funny, and humor is a good thing, but oftentimes they weren't posted for humor as much as to deceive, manipulate, or direct negativity towards an issue, many times towards a political issue. It's so easy to do your research. The internet is a double-edged sword and can be used to defend as well as defeat any issue, person, or event. This past week, I have seen a few posts that really, for the most part, I didn't find funny. And because I didn't find funny, I then questioned them. So I went online and discovered not that the posting was wrong, it just wasn't quite right. They left a few things out. By omitting a few key points on the issue, the person making the post can sway any opinion to their side or their cause. Dishonesty at best. Now, here on Captain's Quarters Podcast, we try to stay somewhat out of the political arena, which isn't easy at times because, if any of you know, sometimes politics piss me off. This is why I do not wish to be specific about the base of the post I am talking about right now, nor do I want to shed light on someone that I may consider a friend who is either right now mean-spirited or just plain downright stupid. So I will use a personal case in point as to the result of not getting your information properly. 2 weeks ago, there was a huge protest, as there were all over the country. A whole lot of people protesting, whining, crying, and complaining because of some of the things going on in the current government. To be more specific, Doge. Whether you agree or not is not my point. Here is the point I'm going to make. As I was walking in my pirate gear down the street, an older couple came past me and she waved her sign in my face. In my face. Her sign said, "If we keep letting Elon Musk do this, all of our veterans will suffer." Well, she opened the door, ladies and gentlemen. So I asked her, point blank, "Are you a vet?" Because she was as old as I am, if not older. "Are you a vet?" She said, "No." I looked at her husband. "Are you a vet?" He said, "No." I said, "Then how would you know?" "I'm a vet. I will tell you this. Since the election into current time frame right now, there is a noted improvement on the morale, the mood, and the customer service that vets, at least in my case, are receiving when we go for our appointments and to be taken care of for our medical needs, which is part of our benefits as a vet. She was not. She has no idea. She's just posting and writing a poster based on what she's heard with no research whatsoever. None. There were many other signs that were like this also, that I could have probably destroyed everything. But it's not my place, because also while I'm downtown, dressed in a pirate gear, I am representing Captain Mayhem and all the other people that look to me as, for lack of a better word, a role model. I understand. In closing, I say this: do your research. It is relatively easy. I will add this, though. If it comes to news that you are questioning or doing your research on, especially on any particular political issue, find news sources. And here's two ways to look at it. Don't find mainstream media news sources. Find little hole-in-the-wall, non-mainstream agencies. They're reporting the news the way it used to be when I was a child. They report the news. No opinions, no sway. They report the news. And here's another thought. Look for non-US based news agencies. There's nothing like getting a good look at the United States of America through the eyes of another news agency outside the country. I won't name any of the ones that I watch, but I do watch at least 2 others that are not United States news agencies. Case in point, my first military assignment was Japan. I was out of the United States of America, living in Japan for 3 full years, with a few side trips to Korea, the Philippines, Hong Kong. My only knowledge of the United States during that entire 3 years was what I saw on Japanese or foreign news TV stations. And of course, for those of you in the military, yes, I will mention AFRTS. That was my only knowledge of what was going on in the States. It was interesting. So by personal experience and personal advice, I suggest don't rely on what you hear in the mainstream media. The internet is a double-edged sword. It has a good edge, it has a bad edge. Like any other weapon, it can be used for good or for bad. We must stop letting people use it for bad. Do your research. I tell all the children that come into my tours, if you're interested in something, use the internet. 3 resources. 3. One of them is not Wikipedia, by the way, and I won't touch that for now. We'll leave it alone. But 3 resources. Find 3 resources and then compare all of them and use a modicum of common sense and human nature as you determine what is real and what is not. Sometimes being an observer gives one a better perspective at the issues at hand at times. And there you go. Thank you, Davey, for giving me my time. And hopefully we have not hurt anybody's feelings. If we have, I'm going to add this one little caveat. When it comes to understanding the world around us and understanding the history behind us, if your opinion is different from mine, if your belief is different from mine, if what you think is different from me, I'm okay with it. And here's why. We live in the greatest country in the world. You are entitled to your voice, your words, your thoughts, and your opinions. It is your rights and privileges as a citizen of the United States of America. They're yours. They are yours alone, as is mine alone also. If we have a disagreement, it should not be the cause of us fighting, bickering, and screaming and killing each other. It should be the opening of a door so we can have a conversation. That, my friends, is the way that we solve our problems. And on that note, let's move into On the Horizon. We'll combine On the Horizon, Davey, with the guest, which will... So let's do On the Horizon, but let's talk about a couple of things that are coming up. I believe the Seawolves have a murder mystery coming up in a couple of weeks, correct?
Correct.
We do want to talk about them real fast and just advertise them. Ladies and gentlemen, the Seawolf Privateers in Flagler County have a murder mystery coming up, and all the money they raise from their murder mysteries is going towards their charitable work towards foster children. So I believe it's on the 10th and the 9th and the 10th. I caught Davey unaware, so we may not have a banner for it. But ladies and gentlemen, the 9th and the 10th is the murder mystery by the Seawolf Privateers. Also this past weekend, the Queen Anne's Revenge crew down south of us in, I can't remember the county now. They had a golf tourney, a miniature golf tourney. And several of the pirates that I met with on Sunday had gone down there for that. And they raised their money for Surfers for Autism. I understand they had a pretty good deal, and it worked out well for them. And their captain, Chad Cook, has told me that he will give me an idea what that was like so we can brag about them a little bit more by next show. And now let's talk about 2 things that involved us here at Captain's Quarters Podcast. Davey, we're going to go with you first. You went to Jacksonville.
I did. Oh,
And
look, I did find that. There it is.
okay, all right, very good. Thank you, Davey. I knew you would find it if I talked long enough. I just needed to talk earlier or longer. Very good. Well, there you go. So, use their QR code if you want to go. I do not know what their ticket sales are like right now. I haven't been in contact with them for the past couple of days, so I do not know. So, go and support their cause. Upon that note, Davey, let's talk about the World of Wizardry? Oh, Wizarding Market. I'm sorry. My goodness. On April 12th, 2025. And it was at the railway location. So did you have a good time?
I did. It was the first time for me. And the person that was in charge of the event is the same one that Max, that hosts Ancient City Con that we are a part of. So, and I got to talk to him. So I think he was pleasantly surprised to see one of us there.
Yeah, he had asked me months ago if I wanted to be Dumbledore. Dumbledore. I'd probably be better as Dumbledore. But at this point in time, with everything going on, I kind of just I didn't commit, probably because I don't really have that kind of an outfit. But David, do you think it would be worth my while to do another character and go on into their next one?
I do. They did not have a Dumbledore there.
Well, then I think we'll send him a message and say, hey, maybe we'll be in for next year. Yes, he is the one that brings us into the Ancient City Con, which is always one of the weekends around Talk Like a Pirate Day. So, ladies and gentlemen, this year it is in St. Augustine, Ancient City Con, and it will be, let me get that date real fast here. It will be September 12, 13, and 14. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll make a good one, but we'll see what we can do. So did you do a video or you just have some pictures you want to show us?
I got pictures and I did 2 video clips because not only were the sirens there, but our good buddies Noise Complaint was there.
So let's do the videos first. But first, I do have to ask you, I'm going to be really surprised if I hear a no out of you. Did you take Mini Mayhem?
Oh, I actually, I did not.
Yeah, well, he probably would have gotten in trouble up there anyway. So, all right, let's see the videos.
All right, I got, and they're real short, just little 30-second ones. I wasn't gonna kill everybody with it, but I'll do the Noise Complaint. And if you notice, it's all wizard themed.
Yeah, and what's really cool about Noise Complaint, we've had them do some of our shows. They're a great group of tap dancers. But back in 2015 and 16, they were Captain Hook's crew in the St. Augustine Ballet of Peter Pan, of which yours truly played Captain Hook. And I learned a few dance steps here and there and had a good time. I should have thought to try to find that video, but we'll look for it and see if we can't show it off. Maybe once in a while we need to have some embarrassing pictures and videos of Captain Mayhem just to keep me in check. What's the other video? The sirens?
Yeah, I did a clip of them.
Very good, Davey. Very good. And show us some of your pictures and tell us what they're at or what they are.
All right. Well,
There's the sirens.
there's the navigator with the ladies.
Oh, and you know what? I'm going to have to send a message to Gina and tell her I see how she was able to get home from the event. If you paid attention, anybody, it's because of a witch's broom, but I won't say anything. Go ahead, Davey.
And I was walking around, and I was just snapping. They had a lot of vendors, and the prices are really good. And I got some still shots of the sirens doing. They did a lot of different dances in their set. I love the swords. There's our buddy. You might want to fill them in on that.
Yes, that's our good friend William LeClaire and his daughter Rebecca. I don't see her. Was she there also?
She was there. She's sitting down because she was signing something. I think they were promoting the zombies in that steampunk saga.
Yes. So they've written a great book, and the second book has come out. He messaged me about 2 weeks ago and told me that the second book is out now. And it's a great combination of zombies, steampunk, happening in American history right around the time leading up to what would have been the American Civil War. And because of this zombie outbreak, the American Civil War doesn't actually happen. It's an interesting storyline. In fact, I brag about this to everybody. When he gave me my copy, I read it and pretty much read it all in one sitting. It was such a good book. It was fun. It was really great. So I can't wait to get a hold of the second one and see what it's all about and get them involved. So there you go. Very good. Any other pictures?
Yeah. Now she was at Ancient City Con.
She was, and she was at the Jekyll and Hyde convention that I went up to at Jekyll Island last year, and took my quartermaster and my sergeant at arms with me for that weekend. So yes, she's got a whole line of makeup and cosmetics for those of you that are in that genre. So very good. Nice to see her too.
I got some pictures again of our buddies.
So the blonde on the left with her back to the screen.
Maybe there's a better one. There she is.
Yeah, there she is again. She is the leader and the originator and the owner of Noise Complaint. She
also sings, Captain.
She does sing. And we got to get her back on the show because she does parody songs.
Yeah, she did by herself. She had the dancers, they did a set dancing with them, but then she also did a set where she was singing with the guitar, acoustic guitar, and she was singing by herself.
Yes. So we got to get her back on the show. She's been on the show once. I need to reach out and get her on the show and see what her schedule's like. Like I said, as we're talking, on the horizon, and this week, and what we're doing with guests, she was a great. You know what might be kind of cool, Davey, is see if I could get all of them to come and they can sit down around the poker table and we can talk about all their experiences working together. That might be kind of a cool one. What don't you think?
Yeah.
That would be a fun one. So we'll work on that one. And we're always ladies and gentlemen, we're always looking for ideas for guests. Always looking. There is nothing off limits as far as guests are concerned. Well, there might be, but it's not happened yet. So we'll leave it at that. So anything else, Davey? Was that it? Oh, look, books and plaques.
Yeah, this person. Yeah, we're making all the plaques, and then the final one more with the ladies.
Now, is that your cloak, or did you borrow that?
No, that's mine. I actually have a Gryffindor. That outfit's mine. I just,
I shouldn't have even asked the question. I knew. Is that your magic wand?
Yes, it is, and it lights up. It's been the first time in a long time that I've been at an event where it was not in pirate garb.
Well, we might have to work on something for them and maybe get involved in that one too. But it looked like a fun event, and
it was.
I
actually had a believe it or not, they had me try a butterbeer. They had butterbeer there. It's the first time, never tried it. That thing, I have to say though, was all pure sugar.
Yes.
I actually got a sugar high from that because I'm not really a big sugar eater, but oh my gosh, I was buzzing high on sugar after that thing.
Is that your excuse now for falling down?
No, my excuse for falling on going up on the ship, I tripped on my robe, I think.
You tripped on your robe. You're kidding me. Really?
No, the robe went down right to my ankle, and I think stepping up, and then the little step kicked out from under me. Luckily, I caught myself, but I still nailed my shins.
Yeah, well.
Now their food prices, they only one vendor, but the food prices, oh my gosh, they were so good, decent prices. I can't believe it.
Wait, don't tell me. You had a hamburger.
I did.
Uh-huh. Yeah. One of these days I'm going to get all these right. Oh, no, you didn't. Yes, you did. You had a hamburger. Yes, you did. All right. So is that all you have for your weekend?
It was. One of the big draws of doing that, I wanted us to be able to podcast, to be able to diversify in that we're not just pirate. And this is a way of showing, we do other things. And this was totally separate from a pirate themed event. This is a wizarding and cosplay event, just like Ancient City Con is somewhat. So I'm happy to show our diversity in other things.
Well, we have a good time when we do Ancient City Con. That's always a good thing. And we had fun with the podcast at Ancient City Con, and we're going to really make it special this year. So we'll see what we can do. So late, I didn't want to show that. Sorry about that. Davey's smoother with this stuff than I am, but I try not to make him do everything. So I spent Sunday with several members of the Order of Leviathan, and some of those members and or nominees are in the gallery today watching. So here is one of the pictures right here. This is a picture of all of us. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All of us, everyone in that picture is either a member of the order or a nominee. And I think I have another picture that shows these are all the members of the order. And from as far away as South Florida, Tampa, Sanford, Orlando, Virginia's, I'll even say New Hampshire. Those are the order members that were here in town this weekend. Just to have a Sunday afternoon in town. We started at the city gate, and then we moved on over to Ann O'Malley's, and then we moved over to the picnic tables behind the taberna, and everybody had some food and or drink, and we sat there for quite a while. Had a couple of really good pictures. Here's another picture of us all sitting around the table, enjoying the company and talking. That was just about everybody right there. And then this picture, I have to show this picture because it's just kind of important. Sometimes the ladies of our organizations and of our events do not get enough face time. So there is the ladies that were there. And as you can see right there on the end, there is my lovely wife, Miss Kara. And there's Emily and Deborah and even some new people that I got to meet this past weekend. So it was a lot of fun. Some of the ones on their way out of town made a stop by my place because my house is on the edge going out of town towards down south. And they stopped at my place. And of course, Jay Tucci found the perfect place to sit. The throne, the chair of all chairs. And of course, honor to my mutt, Maximus. There he is. He looks so innocent. But ladies and gentlemen, the Order is an organization that started in 2009. So the easiest way to explain it in simplicity is that on the odd years nominees are chosen, up to 30, and there could be more, but it's narrowed down to 30. And then out of those 30, 13 of them, 12 of them are picked, and the 13th one is picked by the grand man himself, Talderoy, out in California, because it's pretty much all of his doing and starting of all this. So he picks the 13th. So every even year, we have 13 new members into the organization. I missed making it into the first wave of 2010, but unanimously made it into 2012. My brother, who's watching, and here he made it in a couple years back. We're the only two actual real blood brothers in the organization. There are now 96 or 97 members, and these are the nominees for 2025. And we will be picking 12 of them to be a part of the organization. And when they're picked, they will then join the ranks of the Order of Leviathan. All of these pirates do charity work in all of their respective areas around the world. There are pirates here from Mexico, England, Canada, Newfoundland. I think we even have an order member that's from down in South America. Forgive me for not knowing for sure. So there's the order members there. There are 30 worthy members, but only 12 of them will make it into the fold. And I'll say here publicly, good luck to each and every one of you. It was a lot of fun. I see PJ Nagel just popped in on the show too. So there you have it. Ransom Mayhem was 2022. I couldn't remember if it was 20 or 22. They are a great group of nominees. I have every member of the order has 12 votes, and then we go from there. I'm very stingy with my votes. I'm very protective, and I think it's an honor to be able to be considered to nominate, not only nominate, but then to vote, and then to welcome them into the fold. So the induction for the new order, or the new members of the order, will be in 2026. The location of that induction has not been determined yet. The last one on this side, they alternate going from the West Coast to the East Coast. So the West Coast last year in 2024 was out at the Long Beach pirate invasion. So 2026 will be on the East Coast. But I'm not able to say because I have not been privy to any of the information just yet. So we'll see how it goes. So it was a fun afternoon. The wife and I spent time downtown and then came home and relaxed. And then on the way out of town, a few of them stopped by to say hello, have an extra rum and a cigar at my fire circle, and then moved on down to where they needed to be down in further in Florida. I've gotten some really nice comments here. So I think, Davey, before we go into anything else, I just want to go back and look and see a couple of comments that came back up. Jim, Confucius say female astronaut who flies upside down. Never mind, Jim. I am not going to go that way. Steve, maybe them knowing the issues they are protesting may give them more legitimacy. That is a very good point, Stephen B. If you know your issues a little bit better, presenting them makes a whole lot more sense. You think people that just jump on the bandwagon without research are known as lemmings, or have an alternative. Yes, we seem to throw the baby out with the bathwater every 4 years instead of working together to make it better. I'll make a note on that one, Stephen. I find it hilariously funny when a politician says something, but if you go back, we'll use your idea of 4 years. Go back 4 years or more, and you'll see that politician making the exact opposite argument on some of the policies that are going on today. The exact opposite. So, it is what it is. Let's see, go down a few more here. Michael Dodd, it was a great time. Queen Anne's Revenge mini golf tournament, and he was glad he went. And I do not know, Stephen, if there were any holes in one. I know that with the Pirates that were down there may have been some holes in the head, but that's a different story. We'll talk about that on another show. Michael Dotson says there were few. Shark Bite got 2 or 3 in my group. Well, wait. Were they honest, legit hole-in-ones, or were we cheating? Because we are pirates. Because when I went down there last year, I cheated. Let's see. And I see Ransom Mayhem. Yep. Okay, very good. So it's an honor to have some of the people that I got to hang out with this past weekend. Michael Dotson, Stephen B., Shark Bite, any of the others that are on board the show tonight. I hope you'll subscribe to us and keep up with us. I'm going to give you one little tease, just one. Between myself and Parlay 8, we're trying to work on something to do between now and the weekend to allow nominees to present their face and their voice and answer a few questions. That's all I'm allowed to say right now. I will be working out the details tomorrow with Deborah of Parlay 8, and we'll see what we can do. We hope this will work. It was something that we talked about, and we're hoping this will give us an opportunity. You've been a good crew. We've reached that time where I need to speed up a bit and stop talking. So let's have Joke of the Week, the reveal with Mini Mayhem.
Okay, it's time for the answer to the Joke of the Week. How did the pirate communicate with the fish? The answer is, he dropped it a line. I didn't have to drop Maggie Jo a line to make her laugh.
All right. We don't have a video for guests on deck right now. We do have a thank you video. We always like to thank everybody for being a part of the show. So, Davey, why don't you throw that up there?
The Captain's Quarters podcast is always searching the world for history, knowledge, and adventure. It takes a crew to run a podcast, so we take this opportunity to thank those who help keep this podcast going. The crew: Captain William Mayhem, Navigator Davey Longwood, Cartographer Mandy Jo. Our charities we support: Alias Acres, Humane Society, Inc., the 3 major charities we support, but always room for more. You too could be part of the show and support the show in many ways. Go to Patreon. For a small monthly contribution, become a Powder Monkey or First Mate sponsor. Go to YouTube and hit the like and subscribe buttons to join our ranks and support the show. It does take a crew. Thank you.
Very good, Davey. And here are our platforms, ladies and gentlemen. After the show continues or completes, my apologies, for YouTube, you can find us on our Facebook channel, on Twitter, on Instagram, and Spotify. If you just want to listen to us, because sometimes maybe hearing us is much better than seeing my ugly mug, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts, CastBox, Stitcher, Spotify, Twitter, Music, Amazon, and iHeartRadio. So we are on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 platforms, I believe. So we're very proud to be a part of that. We do not have our numbers this week, but Davey and I were talking about them at the beginning. Our numbers are up from last week. Do you have any numbers you want to reveal? How many subscribers are we up? About 10 this week, and our views have jumped up by about 100. Give or take?
We jumped up. I think it's 15 subscribers.
Good. And ladies and gentlemen, we hope everyone will subscribe and be a part of the show. You may not be able to catch us every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but you can watch us in reruns, so to speak. We've reached a point where if we continue to keep going the way we're going, well, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube is starting to tell us that we're going to have money owed to us. In the future, when we have guests, any of the guests that we have on board, we are trying to keep our show within the 42 to 50 minute time frame. As you can see, I've talked a little bit more than I needed to today, but we're trying to keep it in the 42 to 55 minute time frame. If we have a guest, the guest will be a part of the last part of the show. And then what we will do is cut the show at the prescribed time. But all those people that are subscribers through Patreon or the memberships through YouTube, you will be automatically rebooked into the show, and it will be nothing but the show with the guest. So keep that in mind. We want to make sure that we bring people into the memberships. We're just now starting to bring that aboard. Upon that note, Davey, I think we've done a good show tonight. We did go over our time, but we're staying under the hour, so that'll keep us good. But on that note, I can't think of anything else, but no, I said to swab the deck, not the duck. So, that being the case, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being a part of the show. For those of you that are watching the show tonight, and I got the privilege of hanging out with you and drinking rum yesterday, I appreciate that. To my son, I can't wait. Keep me informed. Let me know what's going on. A week away, and Hope McRae will be in the world today. I love that. To my brother over on the West Coast, good to see you on board. And good to hear you on board. We'll leave it at that. Everybody knows the inside. We love you all. We can't do it without you, but, well, Davey, how do we sign off?
Part of the podcast.
Part of the crew, always. We can't do it without you, ladies and gentlemen. We could, but it's not as much fun. We adore having you on the show with us. So from Captain Mayhem and Davey Longwood, we invite you to join us next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a new show. New thoughts, new fun, new pictures, new videos. Until then, safe sailing, fair weather, whatever else you want to think. We love you all. On that note, thank you, Davey. Take us out.
With wit and charm, they